Oh look, I can see our reflection in the mirror. That makes sense.
That's glass, it's not a mirror.
I don't give a damn what he say be. Good afternoon, good evening, good night, good morning. Not in that order necessarily, but it's a type of news. I'm Dutch Perman.
Yeah. How you guys doing?
Sometimes he doesn't take his medication, but
Sometimes.
I feel as though it's something that kind of snuck up on us. Because I didn't even really realize it right away when it happened. Because I was just like, woo, Nick Kemp is chairman for the OBA. And, no, but I mean, I didn't really realize, in fact, that, the Senate position had been taken from him until, I think, a few days after. And I was like, what in the heck? Like, I feel like, I'm not going to pretend that we have any inside scoop, because we definitely don't. Whatever happens within the party, we have no clue. To be honest, Nick Kemp could be in the wrong, for all we know. But it's about public perception, man. You know what I mean? It's about how things look. You have a new leader that comes in, and the first thing she does is remove OBA's golden boy from his center position, and then places somebody who just exploded on the scene, 2 months ago?
Give or take.
Yeah. I mean, we're all for the youth, but it's like you also have to make sure that you don't start them with a shadow of doubt, because you cast this big shadow over his Senate now, his Senate tenure. So everything that he does is going to be underneath that shadow, like.
This is... In the research that we did before we started talking about this, I don't understand why Miss Aberdeen, how do you pronounce it? Atherton. Why do you keep saying Aberdeen? I don't know why.
Are you talking to me or talking to them?
I don't know. I'm just talking. But I don't see. The first thing you do as opposition leader, after she gave a marvelous speech at the event, I thought she spoke very well, got up there, spoke about how we need to get young people and women involved in politics, and I'm just like,
Oh yeah.
I think that speech is what got her the vote.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, congratulations, do your thing, man. All right, cool, let's see what you got. And the first thing you do is get rid of Nick Kemp.
SN.
Insane. Knowing full well that he would be like, nah, screw this. But the same way, we criticize Jamal Simmons for getting rid of a white man that was doing his job, we have to extend that courtesy to the current opposition leader, because you got rid of him when he was doing his job.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I mean, but the thing is, a lot of people say, oh, well, why does he need to be chairman and senator? Senator Limbaugh was chairman. Was that Hollis senator when he was chairman?
Typically, chairmen are.
Chairman are senators. Typically. I don't see the problem with it.
Yeah, it's not always the case, but typically it kind of is.
Like, usually it's a 90% chance.
But it comes down to when you look at the political landscape of things, could the OBA actually afford another hit like this?
No!
Like, I mean,
No, they can't!
but this is it.
Literally, and all we hear in the comments, you'll never come after the OBA. What about the OBA? Every time we say something against the PLP, look at what the OBA did. Literally, the PLP and the supporters are all over the OBA's dead body. This is the weakest they have ever been.
They are scrabbling around looking for leaders.
Literally,
Scrabbling around for Senate.
that same analogy I said of putting the Lego set back together, the pieces that they had started put together, just throw them right back at the wall. And it's...
They haven't been able to mount a formidable opposition.
Nick Kemp was
Since
the
they
formidable
lost.
opposition.
Exactly. The Senator Nick Kemp was pretty much doing opposition by his lonesome. I mean, if you want to talk about effective opposition, Senator Nick Kemp was doing that. You know, even though ex-Premier Michael Dunkley has been very active on social media, it's cast a shadow over the fact that he wasn't that active while he was Premier. Which means that everything that you say now just seems like you're saying it from a point of, well, I'm not got the big job anymore, so now I can say what I have to say. And even with ex-OBA Senator Michael Fay, it's like, you know, you can't come out of the shadows now and offer advice now
and
after the fact.
And all Pat and Papa Craig just chilling. Just chilling. So it's like, it seems more like the FBA is being a better OBA, if that makes sense. Now, Nick Kemp's senator position was taken and it was given to Justin Matthias. Now, I don't have a problem with Justin Matthias. I think he's a cool guy, you know. I don't have anything against him. Well, I don't really have anything against anybody. I don't have time for that.
Yeah, I mean... But what does it mean?
But also, as what my research and what I had spoken to people about is Senator Mr. Andrew was willing to go. He was willing to step down as senator. So if that is true, now we can't confirm that because, you know, there's been no official report. Well, there's been no official anything other than Nick Kemp's going.
No one said anything, yeah.
So if it's true that he was ready to step down, why then didn't you give Justin his position?
It seems as though it has to do with something personal, because
it's possible.
Because what it looks like is that Miss Atherton had a direction that she wanted to take the party in that Senator Nick Kemp did not agree with. Now, a lot of folks say, yeah, he probably should have fell in line as chairman and followed behind the leader, but I feel like that's been the OBA's problem.
Oh, that's definitely been his problem.
It's like you guys can't just simply follow behind the leader completely off a cliff. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, you guys' entire election and entire campaign was very reactionary and not very proactive. And I feel like you have to have these checks and balances within a party to make sure that stuff is actually done that helps the party, that can then in turn help the people. Because if you have a party that can't even staff itself, you can't even have a chairman, you can't really maintain a leader, how can you then do your function, which is required by the Westminster system, to oppose? It's like right now, the government is doing some questionable things, and the only people that are screaming about it is either us or people on the forum.
No, just us.
There's people on the forums too, by that.
No, I don't hear you on the forums.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, we did the same thing when you guys were government. We were screaming, but the only difference is that the PLP was screaming right along with us. They were doing their job as opposition.
Mm-hmm. You can't be a reactionary opposition. You have to be a proactive opposition. You can't be an opposition that's just going to be reacting to everything and not doing anything in general. Because frankly, like, this is the thing, like, if y'all hope to even stand a chance in the next election, you got to get your britches back on and get right back up on that horse. But right now, you got your pants on backwards.
Yeah.
It's like what? Now,
then it's so like interesting that he said he was offered this position before, and he turned it down.
Justin?
Mm-hmm. He was offered that position before on Pat.
How old is Justin?
I don't know. But my thing is, I feel like it's a lot of obviously there's a lot more than what's being said, but I mean it's very apparent in the actions that it's not very well hidden. You know, that obviously the position became a lot more lucrative or appealing under Miss Atherton than it did under Pat. Or maybe you're just busy at the time, I don't know, but
it could be a very many things. I'm not going to sit there and, stoop to speculation, but I believe that Nandi was made, I guess, interim chairman in next absence.
She is chairman.
But wouldn't chairman fall to the runner-up?
Yeah, well, typically it should, yeah.
No. Nothing against Andy. I'm sure, like, she's been the deputy chair for a while. I'm sure she's capable of doing chair. Probably might even do a good job as chair. However, I would think that it would go to, they would either have to do another election or give it to the runner-up. No, the whole situation just feels like a kerfuffle because it's like,
yeah, right now.
I mean, she like, in her speech, she said, get young people and women involved in politics. I'm all for that. But the first thing you do is get rid of one of your youngest members?
But I feel like all of these,
not get rid of, but
both parties have this thing going on right now where they are not very unified. Like,
no, they're not.
Every time I look, it seems that everyone in the electorate seems to have this collective mindset that the parties do almost everything as a collective body. But if you really look at the actions being taken by both parties, you definitely see a disconnect between a party leader and a party or certain ministers. And you don't really see ministers speaking out in either defense of another minister or speaking out in support too often of another minister. I mean, typically they just all doing their own things. Like, I mean, where exactly is the OBA on commenting on this Nick Kemp issue? Like, I haven't seen anything really definitive. I saw an interview with Mr. Matthias about him taking the job and how he feels about receiving this senator position, but even he didn't really speak on that issue. And I feel like this is something that the people are unsettled by. They're unsettled by the fact that you just move on past it. You know, it's just, Nick Kemp, somebody who was a leading member of our party up and coming, has suddenly just quit as chairman, and we're not even going to really discuss it. We're just going to move past it. It's like, well, can you guys really afford to move past it? Your political standing doesn't give you those blighs anymore. You have to explain everything.
Has he quit as chairman or has he completely left the OBA?
He just quit as chairman.
Oh, okay.
His membership, but that's what I mean. It's not been made clear.
Not much has been made clear.
Yeah, it's just kind of just getting swept on the rug, and I feel like, how exactly are you proving that you are still a viable party when you have a clear clash of old school versus new school, and you have a clear clash of folks who, when a different leader is in position, are either more vocal or less vocal? And it's just, at the end of the day, you can't unite a people if you can't unite your party. And that's been the issue for politics for generations. But you know what? People are getting tired. Yeah, millennials are getting tired, and they're the next generation up, and they are demanding better. See, no offense to the generation before us, but the generation before us they rely on hearsay.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of taking things at face value, and that I really feel that's almost like the entire political game in Bermuda. Like, this happened, interpret it how you would. Move along.
Yeah.
When we're accepting the cover and not actually what's in the book. Like, we need more information about this stuff. Things like this need to be explained. Like, why was Nick Kemp removed as senator? Why? What was the reasoning behind it? Was it personal? Was it political? Like, was he not doing his job as senator? Was he not doing this? I don't know. There's three sides to every story. There's what he said, what she said, and then there's the truth. We don't know.
Yeah, it's just like the whole incident with all these scandals. Aaron just doesn't talk about it.
Just sweeps it under the rug. Just what's Bermuda's rug look like? That must be the most uneven floor the world has ever seen, with all the crap we sweep under the rug.
Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't even really make sense. Like, the disconnect is so obvious. Like, even with just recently, our premier went and met with Theresa May and was saying how he was the first overseas territory to sign this particular agreement, but then back home, his folks are mentioning independence, and it's like, well, okay, when exactly are our parties gonna get on the same footing? Like, I understand that you're all ministers and you'll have your specific views.
I'm really pleased that David Byrd is out there in England, like signing deals and doing his thing. I'm really happy about that. However, while your premier is out there doing his job, y'all down here like running around with your head chopped off, like a chicken with his head chopped off.
And I understand that yes, the opposition is meant to keep the government on its toes, but understand that you guys have to find common ground when it comes to supporting this country, and it would be nice to hear from the opposition a bit of applause on some of the good things that our current government have done, because it not only makes the government as a whole look more stable, but it just makes everybody look like better people, and that's petty. Because I mean, if opposition came over press the release where they said, we applaud Premier Byrd.
Well, the thing is, like, I think they've been quiet because David Byrd hasn't done a bad job.
But that's what I mean.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we didn't do the episode of the 21 things because they did them all. We were like, oh, well, hot damn, good for you, good. He's out, he's out there in England. He's doing his thing. His party, on the other hand, I don't know.
But this is what I'm saying.
Jamal Simmons be firing rich white people and bloody well.
And then he
Walter Braun trying to take gay marriage away.
And then Jamal himself having a history of getting fired as a security guard.
But because he was stealing phone charges, which is public knowledge.
It's just like, what credentials do you have to judge anybody? But anyway, my thing is...
anybody for corruption. Either way, digress.
With that being said, it comes back to why is the opposition got to be quiet on things that are good? And why can't the government be more appreciative of the opposition's response? Because I have to say, though Premier Byrd has been doing a fantastic job overseas, his relations with the opposition and his answers to questions are extremely petty. It comes down to, again, why can't you say, we appreciate the opposition's position on this, but we're choosing to go the other way? Don't be talking about, the OBA should be worrying more about its own house and that. No.
Both people should be equally worried about their own house because both houses are in disorder.
Yeah, you've been doing a good job, but I ain't gonna excuse you for being petty, especially
your ministers
have a done situation for sure.
And your ministers are going around firing people, taking lawsuit cases,
sweeping lawsuit cases. Because some of those lawsuit cases that have been happening.
Actually, one point to give Kim Wilson. One point I will give Kim Wilson. The morning after pill is now available in Bermuda.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which is great. I don't know why our women haven't had access to easy birth control for this long.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of retarded.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I can't use that word. My bad. Kind of stupid.
There you go. That's better.
Like they should be giving that stuff out like candy. They really should. I mean, you give out condoms. Why not give out birth control?
Condoms should be still sold at grocery stores. Thanks.
They don't.
No.
They don't. You can't buy condoms at grocery stores.
Nope. No.
Well, it should be
but she's probably working on that next, so we give her benefit of doubt. But with that being said, if your opposition cannot oppose effectively, then they need to communicate effectively. That's all. It's like, yes, we understand getting your house in order, but why not just come out and actually talk to your constituents, talk to the people that voted you in. Right now, what it seems like is that you guys are like, yeah, okay, now that we've dealt with the people, we need to deal with ourselves. No, you don't get time. You don't get time to deal with that. You have to deal with that and deal with the electorate. Because at the end of the day, the people who support the OBA are looking for you to call the PLP on some of this foolishness. Now, both parties are doing foolishness, but it's their job to check each other. That's the point.
Now, in my experience, forgive me for saying this, because I know I'm going to get a lot of crap in the comments for saying this, but you don't have that many, die-hard OBA supporters. A lot of OBA supporters are like, okay, we like your policies. All right, we'll vote for you. Cool. A lot of PLP supporters are like, yes, PLP till we die, PLP, because of this. We have people in the comments that every time we say something about the Progressive Labour Party or criticize what one of their ministers is doing, after we've already said that we think that their premier is doing a pretty good job, clearly.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, you do not. Well, it's doing your job. You don't get points for doing your job.
Doing good PR.
When we say something against a member of the PLP, we get, oh, well, what was the OBA doing? Good old Auntie Laverne. Every time we say something, well, what was the OBA doing? What was the OBA doing? Why does it matter?
They lost.
They lost!
They're finished.
One lady said to me that the analogy she used was they got slaughtered at the polls. Yes, they got slaughtered at the polls. What happens when you slaughter an animal?
It's dead.
It's dead. Now, hopefully, someone can, you can come and breathe some new life into the OBA. My feelings are a little mixed right now, but it's dead. And what I'm worried about from people is do not let your party get away with murder.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can constantly say, if they do something bad, oh, well, the OBA did the same thing. Oh, well, they're taking money. Like she said, oh, well, find it $340,000. But what about the $800 million that was lost under the U.S. Brown government?
What about these ongoing court cases?
That were started under Polakov? The thing is, and we keep championing people this for both parties. Do not blindly follow anybody. I don't even blindly follow my dad, and he's my dad.
Well,
because when parties have blind followers and parties have followers that will follow them no matter that will follow them no matter what, they weaken as a party. When your supporters hold you accountable and your supporters are like, no, make sure you're doing your job properly, that makes stronger governments. So what I would challenge and what I would want the PLP supporters to do is hold your government accountable. Ask the right question. As in the immortal words of Mr. Aaron Hill, pepper them with questions. Hold them accountable. Hold them to what they say. Because when Aaron got up there and said that, I was like, you know what? You got something. You got something right there. What you just said, I completely 199% agree with, because when people let the government do whatever they want, it opens the door for the government to become corrupt and take advantage of its people. I'm not saying that the PLP is taking advantage of the people. Not even close. What I'm saying is that we at It's That Type of Party want the PLP government to be the best government they can possibly be. Because if they are that, then that benefits us as a country. Mm-hmm. We don't want the government to fail. If the government fails, who the hell you think cleans up the mess? They just go home. Mm-hmm. We're going to be the ones just sweeping up the shit.
At the end of the day, whoever's in power is leading the country.
Exactly. So us as people and us as supporters, whether that's on the green or the red, need to be the best people we can be. Just how the OBA has been dropping the ball as the opposition. Actually, no, they don't even know where the ball is as the opposition.
Yeah, and don't try to find ways to link all your problems to the One Bermuda Alliance.
They can barely get the pencil in.
All the problems started 4 years ago. Honestly, if you want to be completely honest, these problems have existed before we were born. The problem that got me very upset is the fact that most black people seem to attribute this black renaissance to when the PLP was in power. And that, we were just...
We're experiencing a black renaissance?
Exactly. We haven't. Black businesses were...
Is firing a bunch of white people starting the black renaissance? Is that what it is? Because
that's the point that I'm making. If you had 14 years... Why don't I see these streets littered with black people in management? Black-owned entrepreneurs that actually had them a seat at the big table. Many more black executives. You know why? Because it didn't matter which party was in power, because we the people only wanted what we wanted. Mm-hmm. And it only mattered when we was on the giving end. And we didn't worry about the receiving end until it was our turn. If we took time to hold governments accountable while we were supporting them, i.e. when the PLP government was in power and dishing out all of this 4 years ago, when they was in power, why exactly do we expect to allow, when they are now back in power, the foolishness that's happening. Because I'm telling you this right now, if Minister Faye at the time had did what Jamal Simmons, our Minister of Tourism now and Economic Development, is doing at the current moment with this amendment, we would have rioted.
Riots in the streets saying, see, I always tell people when you, sorry, I can't even talk right now. It's not just the Black Renaissance mentality, even though we're not experiencing one. It's and I see this with a lot of commenters and a lot of people. Now, this is not in any way something against PLP, because I'm about to say something about them after I'm done with this, but this is about the people. Black people in Bermuda.
You don't need the opposition to oppose.
It's not even just that. Too many people on this island now feel, oh, black man's back in power. Let's get these white boys out. But let's think about what happens if we get those white boys out. Those white exempt companies that we get most of our revenue from, they leave. International business, they leave. Gaming, Shoots pretty much said, screw it.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, just stop.
Don't make no sense.
Because you think, I mean, if you really want to get all the white people out, then you need to look a little carefully, because people that, you know, they're trying to bring in are what color? Not, well, this side, not this side, this side. Either way, what Black Bermuda, okay, and now not all black people in Bermuda, because it's a loud minority that seems like a lot of people. A lot of times people say it's like it's old guys that do this, it's old women that do this. No, it's a loud minority.
But it is a very frequent mentality.
Exactly. What the goal should not be getting rid of these white people. It should be leveling the playing field with these white people.
Exactly.
Rather than trying to get rid of the successful white man, we should be taking strides to be as successful as a successful white man. I'm not saying we emulate them or we become like them, but we level the playing field. Because let me tell you something, most of these white businesses, they don't care what color you are. If you're making money, then that's the only colors they see, the colors on our money.
That's
but
right.
Like, now back to the PLP. What we want from people is to support them. Why can't Wayne Keynes get more support trying to stop all this gang violence? I see a lot of people on Facebook saying that they're supporting him, and I see him trying to do his thing, and I commend him for doing it, because frankly, I'm really happy to see national security. I'm happy to have had two good ministers of national security, because Jeff Barron was awesome in that position. I ain't seen Jeff Barron in a while, but Jeff Barron was awesome in that position. And Wayne Keynes has been doing a phenomenal job so far. But why can't more people support him? Why do I hear publicly more people rallying behind Minister Simmons to get rid of Alan Dunst? Why do I hear people rallying behind Minister Brown to, you know, get rid of gay marriage? Why do I hear people even commending Kim Wilson and everything for taking the court case and everything? Why don't I see enough people supporting someone that's actually trying to do something better for the country?
All he gets is a good job, thumbs up.
This is what I'm saying, and I know the awesome supporters.
Of course.
However, if Wayne Keynes got the same amount of support for literally putting blood, sweat, and tears into making this island a safer place for young people, as well as older people, just making the island safer in general, these streets will be clean like that. Sorry. Technical difficulties. What was I saying?
We still do budget. You know.
For now. What were we saying? What was I saying? Right. Now, problem I have is we don't hear anybody saying anything when something good's happening. No one said anything about Dave. Well, okay, not no one, but a small amount of people. David Brett's out there in England doing his job as premier. That should be worth something. That is worth something. Points to you, Mr. Burt. Good job.
But again, look at how things are set up, where you have here a lot of buzz going on for good stuff, right? And then the buzz for negative stuff is always way up.
Way higher.
Because people are always looking for a reason
to be angry,
to criticize.
No, it's not even just that. Wayne Kane's doing his thing. National Security Minister trying to get out of a safe place. Points to you. Good job. Thumbs up. Pass it on. What's next? Kim Wilson makes more Africa readily available in Bermuda. Okay, cool. That's good. Push it on. Move it on. Okay. Now, where we really hear people is like when people like us are like, why is Jamal Simmons doing whatever he wants? Immediately, all the PLP diehards get their green shields ready and they're like, look, this is why he was doing this and this is why he was doing this and the OVA was doing this and this is why you're supposed to wrong. You don't need to wake up because you're sleeping this and y'all are disrespectful and don't know nothing about your country. You need to learn your history. And we're like, when we say something good about the PLP, nobody on the PLP side says, you know what, good job. Thank you for, giving my party credit for when credit's due. However, when we say something bad.
And you know what? I don't want your applause. You know why? Because you folks get on my goddamn nerves. And let me tell you why. Because none of you sat here and tried to follow up on anything that actually friggin' matters, alright? The thing is, you want to sit here and defend Jamal leveraging Alan Dunn out of this position. But let me ask you a question. Why hasn't anyone been following up on employment numbers or unemployment numbers? Huh? Where has that been? Why is anyone not following up on it? Because all I hear is great titles, stark immigration reform. All I hear is great titles. Oh, I have a plan for education. I just haven't released it yet. Well, my thing is, where exactly is the follow-up from you folks who are so bloody well die hard against this, for this government, right? But again, where are the actual statistics that support the fact that they are actually doing something? A good heading doesn't necessarily mean that they are actually doing their jobs. Because if you say, all right, Mr. Rabin, you said that you have a plan and you're looking forward to share it with the electorate. But the thing is, at the end of the day, education was something that spearheaded your attack on the OBA, so it should have at least a skeleton that you can speak on as far as slight detail.
That thing should have been a full-body report. That thing should have been a full plan as he was spearheaded against OBA.
Whether he has a full plan or not, the point is, people just take it for face value. Well done, Mr. Rabin, for saying you have a plan. Well done, Mr. Walton Brown, for saying, oh, you are tackling stark immigration reform. You passed a few amendments. But why doesn't anyone ever check out what effects these amendments actually have?
Because we take things at face value.
And that's the point. You can't sit here and criticize anybody for asking or trying to hold the government you support accountable. Because what ends up happening is that you end up making yourself look like a fool. Because you shoot out a bunch of stuff and you say this and that, the OBA did this and that, or let's look into the OBA's dastardly deeds. Well, how many of that actually has a legal connotation to it? Like, it's about time for Bermudians to start sifting through the BS and the crap that some of the ministers say, because some of these ministers online, like Senator Diallo Rabin, some of your comments are just bonkers. And I don't know how any of your supporters allow you to go on that dang computer and type up a whole bunch of foolishness. Because at the end of the day, where are the statistics? You keep saying stuff and your supporters keep spouting out about all this foolishness happening with the OBA and all the dastardly deeds they did in the past. Show me a legal document. Show me evidence. There's a reason why we don't do speculation on the show. We speculate to a point. We do not use it as leverage on our opinions.
But we always clarify when we're unsure about something. We are not above being criticized. We are not above being corrected. Frankly, we prefer it. You correcting us makes us better because it now opens the door for us. Because we're not always right. We know we're not always right. This is usually our opinions. But
what irritates me is that when you get on these damn forums and you say, oh, I have an opinion here about this, or you must come from a sheltered household, or this and that. Here's the thing. Why exactly are most die-hard supporters support reasons nothing to do with politics? Like, you want to support a minister who says this, but you don't care about the follow-up. You just want someone to tell you what you want to hear. The PLP got in there and told you what you wanted to hear. The OBA did the same thing. How much follow-up are you checking? Because you know what? I see the follow-up from the BTA. I see those numbers coming out green. And that's something that the OBA said that the BTA would do when they founded them. I see the GDP on the rise. That's something that backs up the OBA saying that they actually did something for this economy.
We saw the return from America's Cup.
Yeah. What I don't see though is, education reform. What I don't see is schools being fixed. What I don't see is the free Wi-Fi.
That ain't never done.
Who the heck cares about Wi-Fi? And that should not be at the top
Who
point.
cares about Wi-Fi when we have young men killing each other in the streets? Who cares about Wi-Fi when our schools have mode? Who cares about Wi-Fi in these... Okay, no. Let's get into this. You know what? I don't even care how damn long this episode is. Let's think about this. Who gives a flying damn about gay marriage when our kids have mode in their schools? Who gives a damn about removing a man that is doing his job at the gaming commission when we don't even have a plan to put comedians in there? He had a plan to put comedians in there,
which we have on our site. If some of you bothered to look at the interview before you shut off your stupid comments underneath our page. And I'm calling this stupid and I'm talking to you directly and personally because I am sick of comedians being that way when it comes to something they disagree with. You need to mature as a people. You need to know how to disagree respectfully. And you need to know how to disagree adequately. And you know what? Sometimes we get corrected on our page all the time. Sometimes someone says, it's not actually an independent body because it was political. Yeah, okay, that's great. But what is the premise? You guys segue. You guys argue.
And then you deflect when we question.
You segue. Like, how about you argue the point and stay on the point? It's not about what the OBA did, if I'm talking about what Jamal Simmons did. It's not about the fact that we don't have opposition right now. The reason why we're having this episode...
We're the opposition right now.
Bang. And we are opposing everything, like we told you way back.
So that's what, you know what? A couple people have been saying it, but you know what? I'm going to just own up to it. We're the opposition. But we're trying to be a healthy opposition. We're going to give you credit where credit is due. We're going to hold you accountable for your actions. But we're not going to try to tear you down. That's not our job as opposition. Our job is to try to do our best to constructively criticize you to make you the best goddamn government you can be.
That's right.
Now, what I don't want to hear, I don't want to hear this again. I know we're going to, but I don't want to hear this again. When some of you PLP diehards comment, now we've been all over the place. We're criticizing this episode, we're commending them in this episode. I'm very curious to see what people are going to say. But for you PLP diehards, or even you OBA haters, whatever you want to call yourselves, try to comment on one of our videos and explain your point without using the shortcomings of the previous government as your lightning rod.
That's right.
Because frankly, no one has been able to do that. Every comment I hear from people, what was the OBA doing? The OBA did this. Your daddy did that. Why you didn't talk about your daddy running in line to be a surrogate? Why you didn't talk about what your daddy was doing here? You think I give a damn about what you think about my father? You think my father gives a damn about what you think about him as well?
Nope.
No, I sleep like a baby at night. I'm not tossing turning. Oh, he said something about my daddy. Oh Lord, even though I disagree with most of my father's policies. Do you know that? Because if you've been watching this show, you would have known that I avidly take the opposite stance that he took on a lot of his things that he did as premier. But no one wants to talk about that. No, they just want to talk about our surrogates. No one wants to talk about how, we are constantly commending Minister Wayne Keynes for doing everything he can to make an island a safer place because we believe in what he's doing. No one wants to give us credit for that. No one wanted to say anything about how we actually said, you know what, congratulations, Mr. Brett. You guys completed your 21 days. We even had a whole episode in this plan where we said, you know what, we're not going to do that because they did their job. They did what they said they were going to do. No one wants to say anything about that. But when we question when a man who is doing his job, when two men that are doing their jobs, Mr. Kemp and Mr. Dunch, are let go. And we haven't been provided with a good reason for why they've been let go. We get shit.
Well, now we're going to give it back. How about that? It's been in some type of news, and this episode has been on accountability. And you know what? Maturity as well. See you next week.